Have you ever been asked a question at work and your brain just crashes? Not because you don't know the answer, but because your mind starts thinking too fast. That's cognitive overload. I'm going to share with you one simple 3-step system that solves that. This sounds simple, but it'll work when you're nervous. It's called the 1-2-3 speaking framework. It starts with what to do the moment you freeze. Picture this. A stakeholder looks at you and asks, "So how is the project going?" Your instinct is to explain, but that's what overloads your brain even more. So instead, you should anchor. You immediately focus on one thing. You say the one thing about whatever your topic is that, and you give one insight. So for that example of the stakeholder asking, "How is the project going?" you can answer, "The one thing about this project is that we're ahead of schedule." Say one thing. Use 15 words or fewer. Stop. That gets you unstuck. But once you can speak, the next problem isn't nerves, it's clarity. Now imagine they follow up with a question like, "What are our options here?" In this second step, this is an important point. So remember, we don't want to ramble. We want to be precise. And that means don't list, split. There are only two sides. You say, there are two ways to look at this topic, category A and category B. Or you can say, there are two ways to approach this, option A and option B. So again, for our previous question, what are our options here? We can answer, there are two ways to approach this, cost cutting or expansion. Choose two sides. State one sentence each. Move on. And now the conversation is clear, but sometimes clarity isn't what they want. Perhaps they want to know how something works. So the question changes. As an example, you might be asked, how does onboarding actually work? And that's when you switch moves. This time, you use 3 steps. And the important thing to remember is verb first. You say, there are 3 steps to your topic. First, action. Second, action. And third, action. So for our question about how onboarding works, your reply could be, there are 3 steps. Set up the hardware, run orientation, assign the project. You've explained the process with 3-step precision and used an action verb at each step. The requirement to start every step with an action verb is known as verb first discipline. It's not just a grammatical preference. It's a psychological tool designed to transform your communication from passive observation into active leadership. When you start with a noun, you're in descriptive mode. You're describing a thing. But when you start with an action verb, you shift into directive mode. This command voice signals to your listeners and your own subconscious that you're in control of the process. It eliminates soft language and filler words, making you sound decisive and authoritative, even if you only had seconds to prepare. Skip the story, cut the detours, move forward. And that's what I call the 1-2-3 speaking framework. But before we go, there's one more thing. Here's the rule. If you feel nervous, use number 1. If you're comparing or organizing, use number 2. If you're explaining a process, then use number 3. And when in doubt, just default back to number 1. So, apply the structure, gain confidence, and that's the end of this lesson.